Right, hi everyone. So, in this video, I'm going to show you every single method, so the three methods of solving quadratics. Okay, so that's factorizing, completing the square, and using the quadratic formula. So we're very clear on what's going on. All right. So when it says solve, as soon as the question is asking you to solve, that should translate to you as find x. So get x equals, okay? What does x squared plus 3x plus 2 even mean? Well, that is a simultaneous equation between y equals x squared plus 3x plus 2 and y equals 0, where y equals 0, think about it, y equals 0 is your x-axis, isn't it? The whole line, y is 0 across this whole line, isn't it? So you're saying, when does this line marry this curve here? Okay, let's look at an autograph where this is x squared plus 3x plus 2. So y equals x squared plus 3x plus 2. There we go. So there's the quadratic, and y equals 0 is the blue curve here. So you can see it touches here and here. Okay, that's what we're doing. When you set it equal to 0, you're saying, when does that curve meet that line? Because you have substituted y equals 0 into this y here. Okay? Watch the simultaneous equation video that I've made if you want to do more on simultaneous equations. Okay? But that's why we're setting this thing equal to 0, and that's why we're solving it. So let's do it first by method 1, factorizing. Does this thing factorize? Well, if it factorizes, it's actually a weird phrase saying, does it factorize? Really, we mean, does it split into nice, obvious numbers, so integers, really. Because as long as there's roots, you can always factorize in the end, because you can just put the roots into here instead. It's a weird phrase, I think, but factorize in general means, can you put it into brackets so it multiplies out nicely? So, what two things time together to make x? Well, obviously that's x and x. What two things time together to make 2? Well, that's only 1 and 2. And what two things, when we times these out, will plus together to make 3x? Well, the sign has to be plus. We'll do a quick check. So when you put stuff in brackets, you quickly check it. So x times x, x squared. 2 times x, 2x. X times 1 plus x. 2 times 1 plus 2. Are we right? Yes, we are. Now we can proceed. Okay? So we're happy with that. So always do your check. So when does this thing equal 0? Well, it equals 0 when either this equals 0, because 0 times anything is 0, or when this is 0. And the only way this becomes 0 when x is minus 2. And the only way this becomes 0 is when x is minus 1. So x is either minus 2 or it can be minus 1. So we've solved it using factorizing. We could also solve it through completing the square. So completing the square. So how do we complete the square? Well, completing the square means first we're going to put as much as we can into the brackets. So I'll take my x, because that's my x squared bit here, okay? And then if I plus half, and I'm putting plus because there's a plus here, right? If I plus half of that coefficient of x, so the number next to x, squared, okay? What can I do with that at the moment? Let's just check what we have. So again, if we expand out the brackets, x, so if I do it over here, x plus 3 over 2, x plus 3 over 2, x times x is x squared, x times 3 over 2 is 3 over 2x, plus 3 over 2x. 3 over 2 times 3 over 2 is 9 over 4. So if I add it all together, x squared, 3 over 2x plus 3 over 2x is 3x, plus 9 over 4. I didn't start with a 9 over 4, did I? I didn't start with a 9 over 4. There is no 9 over 4 in here. So that's why I subtract. Always subtract whatever that number is squared. That's why, okay? That's why we do that. And now you've still got the plus 2 in here. So plus 2 equals 0, okay? We're trying to get x equals, remember. So all the numbers will put to the right. So if I've got minus 9 over 4, now I've got plus 9 over 4. If I've got plus 2, I've got minus 2. Minus 2 is the same as 8 over 4. So therefore I get x plus 3 by 2 squared equals 9 over 4 minus 8 over 4 is 1 over 4. So now I can square root both sides. So if I square root both sides, I get x plus 3 over 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 1 over 4, which is a half. And now all I've got left to get x by itself is that 3 over 2 here. So x equals minus 3 over 2 plus or minus a half. And then we get minus 3 over 2 plus a half is minus 2 over 2, which is minus 1. And minus 3 over 2 minus a half becomes minus 4 over 2, which is minus 2. So we get what we started with. Okay, it seems like a long-winded method, but there are reasons why you complete the square. But in this, I got to go on. So in the completing square video, which will come up, we'll talk about that. Alright, but there are good reasons why we complete the square, namely to find the minimum of the curve, for instance, and to rearrange it, and you can find solutions from it. Okay, we could also use the quadratic formula. So let's go for that. So the quadratic formula is x equals minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a, and that actually comes from rearranging ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This is a general quadratic. If you rearrange that to get x equals, this is what you'll produce. And the only way to do that is through completing the square. So if ever you think, what's the point of completing the square? It's rubbish. It's really not, because it generates this really important formula which you use all the time. So if I'm looking at this one, my a is obviously 1. My b is 3 and my c is 2. So I get minus b plus or minus b squared is 9, minus 4 lots of a, which is 1, and c, which is 2. There we go. And that's all over 2a, which is 2. So just like before, x equals minus 3 by 2 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 8 is 1. So a half, and again we get x is minus 1, x is minus 2. So you've just seen 3 different ways to solve exactly the same problem. Let's do another one. So, okay, I'll have to quickly clone this. Bear with me. And then clear ink. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do number 7. So let's do this one. We'll do it nice and quickly this time. So factorizing. X squared plus 7x plus 10 equals 0. So does this factorize? 2 numbers times together to make x squared? Yep. 10, 2 numbers to add that together. 2 times 5 makes 10. And I need plus 10, I need plus 7x, so plus plus. So x equals minus 5, x equals minus 2. Okay? Factorizing is your first port of call because it's the quickest. If it looks like, no, I'm not sure how to factorize that, complete the square or use the quadratic formula. So let's go complete the square. So x squared plus 7, so I'm saying x plus half the number next to x squared, so half the number there, minus whatever that thing is squared, so that's minus 49 over 4, plus 10, and 10, well, that's right there. So that's x plus 7 over 2 squared equals 49 over 4 minus 10, which is the same as 40 over 4. So that is 9 over 4, x plus 7 over 2 squared, square root everything, so plus or minus the square root of 9 over 4 is 3 over 2. And that gives you x plus 7 over 2, so x equals minus 7 over 2 plus or minus 3 over 2. So therefore, x equals minus 7 over 2 plus 3 over 2 is minus 4 over 2, which is minus 2, as we wanted. Or x equals minus 7 over 2 minus 3 over 2, which is minus 10 over 2, which is minus 5, as we wanted. Cool. And then if we use the quadratic formula, which remember just bypasses all that completing the square because it just puts that, it all comes from completing the square. So x equals, now we've got our a is 1, b is 7, c is 10, so minus 7 plus minus b squared, 49 minus 4, a, 1, 10, 2a, 2. And then we can go from there, okay? Let's do number 13 finally. You can go straight on to doing your own ones if you want. So this is it. This is the last one for you. This is yours that you got to do. But if you want to watch another one, let's do number 13. You can watch that. So let's go clone, get rid of the ink. Alright, let's go again. This time we're going to do number 13, where a is not 1. Remember, ax squared plus bx plus c, that's what I'm talking about when I say a, the number next to the coefficient of x squared. So, let's go. Factorize. So, factorize. 2x squared plus 7x plus 3 equals 0. So, 2x and x make 2x squared. What else we got? What makes 3? 3 and 1. 3 is prime. So if 3 goes there and 1 goes there, 3 times 1 works. And I need 7x when they times out. So 2x times 3 is 6x. Yeah, I reckon this will work, but I'll do a quick check. So let's times out 2x squared plus 6x plus x plus 3. And yeah, we're happy that is what will be produced. Fantastic. And now we can solve, right? Let's just quickly rub that up. So 2x plus 1, x plus 3, 0. So therefore, if this needs to be 0, x would have to be minus a half, wouldn't it? 2 times minus a half makes minus 1, plus 1 is 0. Or, this one's got to be minus 3. So there you go, there's results. Completing the square. This is optional, okay, at this point. If you've got a equals where a is not 1 yet, when a is not 1, you don't have to do the completing the square one because we're not there yet in the scheme of work, but I can quickly show you for now, okay? So you don't have to do this completing the square style when a is not 1 at the moment. There's another video on that which I've actually sent you. So to complete the square on this, first you need to get rid of the 2. So you're going to take out a factor of 2. So everything to do with x is divided by 2. You're taking out a factor of 2. So when you multiply it back out, you still get what you started with. That's all you got to do. And now you can complete the square as normal. So x plus half of whatever that is, so 7 over 4, squared. Subtract whatever that is squared, so 49 over 16. Close your big brackets, equals 0. And now you can go as normal. So you could, because it all equals 0, you could divide by 2 if you want. So if you divide by 2, you get x plus 7 over 4 all squared minus 49 over 16 plus 3 over 2 equals 0. And we can go from there to get x equals. So x plus 7 over 4 squared equals 49 over 16 minus 3 by 2, which is the same as 1624. So that's 25 over 16, right? Is x plus 7 over 4 squared. We want x by itself, so we'll square root both sides, plus or minus. The square root of 25 over 16 is 5 over 4. And then we would move the 7 over 4 over, wouldn't we? Right, so we square rooted it, plus or minus, and then we move that 7 over 4 over, and therefore we'd get our x is minus a half and x equals minus 3. Quadratic formula. Remember, it's got to look like, you got to be able to know what your A, B's and C's are. I'm not going to sing it. I'm not going to sing the A, B, C. No. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. I can't do it. Okay, I'm not going to sing. So, now we've got the quadratic formula. So let's just quickly do that. X equals minus b, so that's minus 7, plus or minus b squared, 49, minus 4 lots of a, c, over 2 lots of a, so that's 2 times 2 is 4. So minus 7 plus or minus 49 minus 6 over 4, 24, that's root 25 over 4, so there's your minus 7 over 4 plus or minus 5 over 4, and then you get your answer. So x is minus a half and x is minus 3, and we're done. Okay, that's it for the support. You should be on your way now. Remember, you don't have to do completing the square when a is not 1, so you've got all these to try out here. All 3 methods per question, please. Okay? All right.